Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Amanda and today I'm using my Counterfeit Kit Challenge and playing with May I Scraplift You and Mix It Up Monday. And Mix It Up Monday, we are given a sketch by Tara the Paper Snob and we need to use mixed media. And then May I Scraplift You is a scrap lift of somebody through the month of May. And so today's suggested scrap lift is from Scrappy Jenny K, and so that is the picture in the up top left. And Tara had the sketch out before the list for Mix It Up for May I Scraplift You. So I went and found this layout from Jenny to scrap lift and made sure that it was something that I could do both with. So you'll see how I go about it. So I'm using the square from the sketch. And yes, this looks like an octagon right now. And you'll see what I do. So I am going to mask it up. I masked it up wrong because I took out the back side. I'm like, oh, that's not quite what I wanted. So I'm going to redo this so that I get the square. Because if you look at the outside, like the square is a little different on mine, but that's okay. But if you look at the sketch, it does kind of actually make an octagon the way that it was, but not as regular of an octagon as I have, but it's okay. So I did pick out that country fair paper to start with. I'm not going to use it because I get picked raspberry down and then I'm like, oh, that's way too pink for this. It like totally clashed with everything else and I was like, oh, well, that sucks. But so it looks like on Jenny's layout that the wreath circle, which I'm going to do mine as a square, is possibly mixed media. And then after I did the layout, it's actually a pattern paper, which is super cool with all that. So the flowers are printed underneath with the wreath, and then she added some more flowers on the upper part. So I'm like, oh, that's cool. Is my square totally square? Totally not. Do I care right now? I do not. I just want to get this done and I'm having fun and I'm playing and not a big deal. So the first one I'm going to do is a little bit of picked raspberry and worn lipstick with some water, and then I'm going to smush that in for what is showing in between those two masking lines. And then I'm going to do this a couple more times. So I get, actually get 3 different square lines instead of the 2 that's on the sketch, but that's totally okay. There we go. I needed some more ink. And then I need some more ink. So just right onto my packaging now instead of onto my glass mat, because whatever. And so that's the first layer done. And then I'm going to pull this off, and then there's this white, and I don't want the white, so this is going to be my darker layer, like it is on the sketch, but this is where I use just picked raspberry, and it ends up being just too bright for what I wanted to do for the paper. So I'm going to have to pivot, but that's okay. I also add other inks to it to tone it down. I could have added a little bit of gesso and maybe still used the country fair paper, but I didn't really want to. It's sitting right there and you can see me in a second think about it after I get this last bit done, but it is what it is. So the one thing I do know about the worn lipstick color, because it is such a light pink, when you add water to it and try to package it, you don't actually get to see any of it. So I put the ink right onto my glass mat and I'm just going right into the ink, but that's drying pretty quickly. So I'm just going to dab right into the ink pad because why not? And it still gives the smushing that I want, but you actually can still see it instead of it disappearing with the water. I am smushing on a little bit on that really pink picked raspberry too, because I already know that it's a little pinker than I really wanted it to be, but that is okay. So see, it doesn't go anymore. I'm like this was in my kit, not the right. This one was in my kit. This is okay, but I didn't like the creamy yellow. And I'm like, oh, I can use this brown, I guess. It makes my photo look quite a bit darker. And I'm like, do I, don't I? It's a dark photo anyway. It's the announcement for my oldest, who is not this little anymore. I did pull out these dollar store flowers, and I'm pulling out the pinky ones and the purpley pinky ones just because that's what I've got going on. I have those 3D white ones for flowers, and then I have these pink ones that I'm going to pull in. And I had those corally ones too, and I was like, if I introduce that, could I use this? And I just pulled it over. I'm like, no, it's still not going to make it good enough. And then I'm going to get a little bit of this out for backing because I do want to back my photo. And I was like, I don't know, let's just go with this. I'm not going to just go with this. You're going to see what I do here in a minute. But so on the opposite side is that pink polka dot paper that is so pretty, and it is already in my kiddo's newborn pictures. And I didn't even think about it being on the other side. I didn't even look at it on the other side. So I'm going to get this down, and then it's not quite straight, and I'm like, it's going to rip the paper. Do I care that much? Probably not. Okay, I'm going to put this on. I'm going to cut this down. I'm going to turn it over to put tape on it and go, oh, that, and now I'm going to rip it all apart. Because I already know that I'm going to like that pink better with all of the other stuff that I've got that I can put on here. And yeah. So right now those two pinks are not so great together, but they will get to be better. And then I can flip this one over, and it makes my picture not look as dark. She's still very dark. It's a newborn picture. She's very red, but... And then I'm like, do I use these? Do I not use these? There's the pink is actually on the announcement in the writing on it. So like, that's why I was working towards that pink. But I'm like, what else can I do? What else can I do? Let's dye this down. So that's like a wet wipe. So I'm just wiping down the pink to try and like ease it up. And now I'm just going to add a little bit more of the worn lipstick, and that does actually tame it down a little bit. And then because the pink is like a little more on that peachy taffy, I pulled out the taffy ink and I'm just smearing it right across the picked raspberry, and that tones it down quite a bit more. You don't see it as much on the screen, but in real life it really truly did make quite a bit of a difference. And then I have these 3D flowers that I'm going to use, and they came from the dollar store, and they have a bit of gold on them. And I think that ties in that background paper with my smooshing a little bit more. And then these florals with the bright pink I can use as a grounding bit for these 3D ones, and I'm liking that quite a bit more. It's still really bright, but do I do much that's not bright? It'll definitely get better here. It's still feeling like a little much to me, but I'm like, okay, let's just persevere through. If I absolutely hate it, I don't have to glue anything, and I can like scratch this and start over or whatever. Like, it is what it is. I thought about this Simple Stories piece for a second, but it's not right for the color, and I'm like, no. Let's not introduce more pink in a different shade. But Beautiful from Simple Stories for a title definitely does work. It's a similar color to the heading on the announcement, and then I pulled in these pink really old flowers, so I had 3 of those left, so those light pink ones are gonna make it, and then that tones down some of that brighter stuff too, and I'm like, okay, I think I can make this work now. So I'm gonna put a whole bunch of glue on this packaging because these 3D flowers need a bunch of glue to actually stick. So I'm going to get some of the flat stuff down first in this cluster. I'm going to cut that piece off, and then I'm going to get these 3D ones, and I literally just dip it in. So there's lots, and then I'm going to use my magnet on either side of the flower so that the bottom part stays stuck, because I still want them to be like more of a 3D kind of shape, and this has worked actually really well. Before I would just like sit there and hold them with my fingers, and I'm like, hey, this might work really well with my glass board. And it totally did. All of them are actually sticking really well, and I don't think I'm gonna have to go back and like reattach any, which is amazing, because normally I do have to go reattach them at least once. So you can see that I am cutting the wire bits off the flowers because they are meant to be not a scrapbooking supply. So, and that beautiful is going to go in the middle, kind of like where it is in the sketch. Jenny's title is underneath, and I could have snuck it underneath too, but I like it there. So, and then Jenny's layout that I scrap lifted is from way back in March of 2024. That's how far back I had to snoop on her Instagram to find a layout that would work with both, which is totally cool, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And then I went and actually found it on her YouTube channel too, and so it was actually one of the Christy Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches, and it was actually Pineapple Papers, and that's who hosts May I Scraplift You. So I think it was meant to be that way, so lots of fun. And then the beautiful is going to go there, and I'm going to just tuck this flower there just so that it has another point of contact, and I thought that was pretty. So, and now I am going to fussy cut out these butterflies off the Minte sheet. So yay, I'm still going to get some Minte in here. And so there's going to be 5 butterflies. So these 3 that are the same are all going to go here. And I'm just going to dip them into the glue because I just have a little bit left, and I might as well use that up. And then the packaging is going glue side up on my photo, so I can sprinkle some of the fossilized amber glitter, spritz, just a spritz, and give some sparkles. On the white ones, I'm actually touching the straw nozzle and allowing some of it actually to drip quite a bit down onto those flowers, just to make sure that they have a bit of the gold too. And that is this layout all completed. Yay! There will be 2 playlists down below and some Instagram creators that are playing along with Mix It Up Monday. And the May I Scraplift You link will also be down below, along with Jenny's video for her layout and her YouTube channel. So, yay. Look how pretty that is. I'm so happy with how it turned out, but it was touch and go there for a while. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate you watching all the way to the end of my video. If you are new here, please subscribe and also like and comment. I always get back to my comments. Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful day.